introduction and then get us started. Welcome everyone. This is the Miracle Mind Meetup. As always, we meet every Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time online. This is open to all. Anyone who feels the call to go deeper into A Course in Miracles, also to join with brothers who are also in the same path, right? Of devotion, of purifying the mind, of doing the mind training, creating that awareness. And there is a potency, right? As we unite to do this together, because we're literally having a personal experience of doing it, of the one mind, right? Not just us as an individual on the journey. So if that's a part of the journey that you feel you're on and you feel called to join a group, we would love to have you. You can look up more information or get in touch with me on Instagram or Facebook, Spirit Led Stef, or even YouTube, actually, Spirit Led Stef. That's Stef with an F, yeah, because my name is Stefania. And yeah, if there are any other questions or anything like that, we are here. And I also have one-on-one work available if that's something that feels true and is calling to you to go deeper in a one-on-one session. So yeah, just reach out. And here we are on this journey together. And let's get started with the reading of today. And going back to chapter 4, which is the illusions of the ego. Such a important aspect, and yet ultimately the course is teaching us that the ego is not real. But there's a whole chapter, a lot of stuff that says, here are the illusions of the ego. But that's why illusions is such an important word in front of the ego, where Jesus is trying to clarify what the ego truly is. And for us to be able to identify what is not truth, what is not spirit, what is not love. And so in that identification, we can begin to apply the gift of discernment, right? To discern falsity from truth, to discern what is meaningful from what is meaningless, right? How do I discern that? Well, Jesus is giving us the description of what falsity is, right? Of what is illusion and where it comes from and how at the core, at the cause, we can dissipate it because it's not who we are, because it's a made up idea, right? But in this experience and in this dream, the dream itself has been constructed by this idea, right? Our beliefs about ourselves have been constructed by this idea, this false idea. And so our stories, our everything, our past, it's all just building upon itself. But ultimately, there's nothing being built. This is the good news. Nothing has been truly built. No story has been truly told that is different from the story of truth, of love, of light. And yet, we need reminders, and that is why we are here. So, I'm gonna look up chapter 4, Bring It On. If you have the book, you can of course go to directly the beginning of chapter 4, which is the illusions of the ego. But I will of course share it here so that we can go and read one by one together, which I think makes it powerful when we read together. Welcome, welcome everyone. Andrea, Lori, Jonas, Isabel. Lovely to see you guys, of course. Angie, Wesley, Sulma, we saw each other earlier. Mike, it's just lovely to have you all. Okay, so let me
What
go
did you
here.
do earlier?
Earlier?
Yeah, you saw them earlier, you say.
Oh, I mean, like earlier, within just an instant, we were just on earlier before we did the prayer and the announcement. And
Okay.
so we said hi. I said hi to them, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I just wanted to. Okay, so hold on. Screens, here we are. Where is, hold on, I got the wrong one. Let me go back. Here we are. The illusions of the ego. As always, this is an open space. We will go reading through this. I feel to start with the reading. And I invite each one of us, if we can, to read at least a paragraph or two so that we can, yeah, like, I don't know, that just feels good. Obviously, if you feel up to it, of course, yeah. And you can check in and then let's see what comes up and we can talk about it. Who would like to read first
Um,
paragraph?
Hey guys, good morning. How's
Good
everybody?
morning.
Yeah, I'll start, sure.
Beautiful. Mhm.
Okay, so the illusions of the ego, introduction. The Bible says that you should go with a brother twice as far as he asks. It certainly does not suggest that you set him back on his journey. Devotion to a brother cannot set you back either. It can lead only to mutual progress. The result of genuine devotion is inspiration, a word which properly understood is the opposite of fatigue. To be fatigued is to be dispirited, but to be inspired is to be in the spirit. To be egocentric is to be dispirited, but to be self centered in the right sense is to be inspired or in spirit. The truly inspired are enlightened and cannot abide in darkness.
Mm. Let's stop that there because I feel something come up for me um, that many times we can read passages like this, and it's easy to think of an enlightened, for example, an enlightened being, right? Like the truly inspired are enlightened and cannot abide in darkness, and as if that is a state that someone has reached and is there now permanently. And that can very well be depending on the consciousness or the state of the person and the healing of that part of the mind. But I think, what we're really connecting with here is, this is a moment to moment thing, right? So devotion to a brother cannot set you back. It can only lead to mutual progress. The moment you have decided in your mind and heart, I devote myself to this brother to see the truth of who they are, in that moment, you are enlightened because you are filled with the Christ intention, right? You are choosing spirit. So like, I want us to always bring these words into a space of like, it is not a character or a story that makes us enlightened, but it's the moment that invites us to enlightening or enlightenment, right? Or the state of love, the state of pure Christ nature. This is something we have an access to in this very moment, again and again and again. So yeah, it's not like, oh, I'm just egocentric because I haven't made it, or no, it's every moment is an opportunity for me to step in. And that's how miracles happen, because we've stepped into this light, into this truth. And yes, maybe things will change and waver, yeah, because we've taken, literally it says, to be fatigued is to be dispirited, but to be inspired is to be in the spirit. So when we're inspired, we're also energized. We're also present. We're here. We're now. We're like all in. And to be egocentric is to be dispirited. But to be self centered with a capital S in the right sense, which is what he means, is to be inspired. So That's what the atonement is. It's like we're always being invited to the atonement, to choosing the true self with an S. And we do that through our brother. So, yes, releasing it from this overall life sort of character thing, which I know my mind can do and has done, to a present invitation in the mind, in any situation, in any moment. It is accessible. The atonement is here, right? Now. Okay. Who would like to read number 2? Or if anybody has anything on heart, please do share.
I'll read. I'll read.
Okay.
You can speak from the spirit or from the ego as you choose. If you speak from spirit, you have chosen to be still and know that I am God. These words are inspired because they reflect knowledge. If you speak from the ego, you are disclaiming knowledge instead of affirming it, and are thus dispiriting yourself. Do not embark on useless journeys, because they are indeed in vain. The ego may decide them, but spirit cannot embark on them because it is forever unwilling to depart from its foundation.
Mm. Do, yeah. Do not embark on useless journeys because they are indeed in vain. And I love how it says, but spirit cannot embark. Not that it doesn't, it just can't because it is forever unwilling to depart from its foundation. Its foundation is what it is. Just point.
I
Beautiful.
just
Let's
would like
keep.
to comment
Yes.
on both of the sections, right? Because I totally also relate to and understand this thing about, when you're in spirit, you it's the opposite of fatigue. You feel so fresh, you feel so fucking energized, right? And at the same time, I also think that there's also a time and a space for even to feel fatigued and to kind of even dwell a little bit in the more bodily and the more like, okay, wow, it was really. Now I had a long period of just running in with spirit
Mm,
almost. Like now it's time to also honor the body and to rest and to integrate everything that happened. And so for me, it's not necessarily a dispiriting or a fully egoic thing, yet it is a more bodily side of the coin, I would say. And I'm also still learning my way to what is it called? Discern what is ego and what is spirit. But at least, I don't believe that we always have to be full of energy and full of this lightful spirit.
yes. Thank you for sharing, Jonas.
Mhm. And
I
I can also,
go ahead. Mhm.
yeah, I can also read, but did you want us to say something more?
Yeah, I was just going to say that I love that share because I think the invitation for all of us is because sometimes it's easy to think that being spirited is found in action, in doing things, and many times it will be reflected in that way. But um, this idea of being truly spirited is, yeah, sure, when action is needed, right? We come forth with action in joy and in presence and with focus and direction. But I think that, like you said, and it's very important, I think, in this experience to acknowledge that our relationship to feeling or the body feeling tired or needing rest, needing to recuperate, needing to fully stop is also part of so it's not so much the body's need to stop being, meaning that it's dispirited, but it's the mind's interpretation of my body's tired and therefore I am tired, therefore I have I can't do this anymore. I am exhausted, right? It's the interpretation of what the body seems to be experiencing. But truly, in the mind, the relationship to the body. So what you're saying is, I can keep the spirited relationship even towards spirited, meaning loving, meaning non-judgment, meaning right, restful in its sort of lighthearted nature, even when I physically feel done. When I need to just listen to what's here physically, but I'm not judging it like, oh, fuck, maybe I just lost it. I lost my spirit. I'm doing now I'm resting and I'm part of the body. No, it's like, okay, this is here. This is what's happening. This is what's being called for me. And so that is a beautiful thing because it's always teaching us the relationship towards being, because we connected or identify energy with the body, but it's not only the body, it's really where the mind is in relation to the body, whether the body's busy and inspired and following the inspiration, or the opposite, resting and just restoring for whatever is necessary, or just being in a cave mode because that's what feels intuitive right now. Yet it's still, there's no dispiriting behind it, right? It's just what it is. And so I love that you brought that up. Yeah.
Thank you for that
Thank
answer.
you. Yeah, thank you. And Sulma, yes, you wanted to share.
You made the perfect point. It's really about the mind. I'm reminded that this is a course in mind training, not a course in how my body's going to feel or any of that. It's just, but isn't it interesting that as tired as we can be, I'm okay, speaking for myself, as tired as I can be and I don't feel like it, and then somebody says something, hey, Steph is coming on at 9:30 Eastern. Steph is coming on at 9:30. Oh man, all of a sudden I'm alert, I'm awake, I have energy. Because it's really not my body that's doing it. It's my mind. It's always my mind. And that word to be inspired is to be in spirit, is really to remember that we are spirit from the door. We are, that is what we are. And it's just reminding us of what we are, and that we don't have to take on, as Steph just said, we don't have that it's not that I am tired, I am sick, I am this. No, my body is experiencing the symptoms of a cold with the fever and all of it, because yeah, that's where I've been. I'm at the end of it now, but my body was experiencing that, but that's not what I am. And fortunately, it doesn't come to stay. It comes to go. It's not real, and that's what not real means. It's like, oh, I'm not going to walk around a week from now saying, yeah, so I am a fever. I am whatever. But the point is that this is a course in mind training, and that's what I have to remember during those times when things are when they seem difficult, or and the course reminds us there's no order of difficulty. It's not bad, good, this, that, or the other. That's the ego's interpretation of it. It really simply is. And where I choose to take it is going to determine how I feel. When I recognize that I am in spirit, it helps me to feel better, to realize that this is temporary anyway. I'm complete.
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
and also, it's one thing is to say I'm not the body, but another thing is to say I am not the this spiritness. This is just the process right now that I'm actually looking and forgiving the this spiritness. So it's all perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Yes. Yes, Jonas. It's almost like still this twinge of spirit deciding to look at the dispiritedness and say, okay, I shine this small light upon what seems to be this, because this is what's here. This is what this is where I am. And that's, yeah, beautiful.
There's
okay, go ahead, Mike, go ahead.
There's a whole section in the course that talks about the present memory. And what that means is remembering who we really are, remembering that all this other stuff is just stories, that our reality, all these stories do not change who we are. It just changes how how fearful or how happy we are within the story. It's changing a nightmare into a happy dream.
Mm.
Right. Back to interpretation, right? Yes,
Mm.
Andre. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually experienced this last week, and I don't know, I was in a really good mood, I guess very spirited, and just really like present and in a loving state. And then all of a sudden at night, night came, and I wanted to stay so bad in the spirit, like I was grasping onto it, right? Like as if it were a state or a destination. And then I got frustrated. I was like, why? What happens? Like, why? There's nothing external that happened to me for me to not be in that state anymore. And instead of just
Mm,
accepting it and honoring, even though it is a story, even though, in that, it's an illusion or whatever, I still reminded myself afterwards that I still have to honor that, right? Like there is a reason why I guess that the spirit comes, because maybe I was, forcing to stay in it, to grasp it as if it were, this thing that I must attain, instead of just letting it flow, instead of just literally being like, you know, come as it may, because even though we are spirit, we still have this humanness and human quality. And I also believe that honoring it and respecting it, even though in the big spectrum it is unreal or an illusion, it's still necessary to give it its space, right? To give it its moment, because it is transitional, and it comes in waves. And for me, the biggest thing has been non-judgment. To be Andre, it's okay. Like you're gonna have these ups and downs. Like you're human. Like you are living this human experience for a reason, and give yourself permission to embody that emotion, because that's the only way it's going to be able to transition, to move, right? And to flow. Because if you hold on to it and you judge it, it's going to be worse. It's going to be this like, why am I feeling this way? I shouldn't be feeling this way. So instead of
mhm.
just sadness or tiredness, you're putting on, like more layers to it and making it more complex. And it doesn't have to be. As Soma said, nothing is positive, nothing is negative. It just is what it is. And it's just part of our
Mm.
human experience. And I think that's like the biggest takeaway. Just learning how to give yourself permission to feel all the emotions without judging them, and without
Mhm.
feeling, guilty for them, because that's just part of it. It's part of like the big scheme of things. So yeah, that's like my 2 cents, how I
Yeah,
interpret it.
no, it's beautiful because you're talking about non-judgment. Non-judgment is such a huge factor. Non-judgment is like the crux of forgiveness.
Right.
Literally, non-judgment is this is here and I need do nothing.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I need
Mm-hmm.
think nothing, make an interpretation of nothing, because ultimately it is nothing, but it's here, and it's kind of like going back to what Sulma was saying, what Jonas was saying, like it's like there's this presence here, or this seeming change in whatever it is, or need of the body, or seeming change in emotion for you, right?
Mm.
But ultimately, there's that light in the mind that can still look upon that and say, okay, this is here. This is here.
Mm-hmm.
And I let it move, and I give myself grace to let it move, because it's ultimately temporary. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the more that's the mind training, because there is an awareness. Oh, look at what my mind wants to do when this is here. Look at how I want to judge. This is the noticing, but bringing it back to what the course is always telling us is staying vigilant. Jesus is always saying, stay vigilant for God, which is basically vigilant for the truth in you. This is why
Mm-hmm.
it's so important. Like, bring it back to the truth in you. And the truth can be that small light that's just saying, this is okay. Even though
Right.
it may not be
Mm.
spirited in the physical form, and how we look at the body being spirited, right? And how we interpret what spirited means. But
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, it's just non-judgment. It's a state of sort of
Allow.
restfulness and joy, allowing, and just almost a little chuckle of laughter,
Mm.
like, okay, this just changed on me. Okay, this is happening. And yeah, taking it lightly. So
Definitely.
interpretation is huge. I love that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also, and I was gonna say something and I just se me fue la paloma, but I
Mm,
think it's just oh, okay, yeah. Like not giving it like
mhm,
like this doesn't have to mean anything. It's not because I did something or I made the wrong decision. It is important to be vigilant about it,
Mhm.
but being like just being like this doesn't have to have a reason to be, right?
mhm.
It's like a signal, I guess, because what would happen to me would be like, wait, why am I feeling this? What did I just think?
Analysis.
And it's
Mhm.
like, no, como que no tiene que tener, it doesn't have to have, like,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because the ego will love to analyze and figure
Right.
out and then go on its own little rabbit hole in the background of what already is happening. For
Exactly.
sure. For sure. You know, I love that you said se me fue la paloma. So not everyone here speaks Spanish. And I love it because so se me fue la paloma, which is what she said,
Yeah.
literally means like I've lost the train of thought. I wanted to say something and I lost it. And it
Yeah.
means paloma is dove.
Yeah.
And so it's like I've lost the dove. The dove flew away, kind of thing.
And the dove means the spirit. It represents
Yes.
the
And the
spirit.
dove is the
That's the
spirit.
dove.
And I just
Yeah. That's so funny. How everything is like so interconnected, right? Without even thinking about it. But yeah,
what an
that's
image.
Mm.
What
yeah.
an image.
Mm.
And that's what happens when we are quote unquote dispirited or choosing to interpret something or judge something. Se nos va la paloma.
Sí, literal.
In that moment, figuratively speaking, symbolically,
Mm.
Mm.
So yeah, thank you for that. What a
I
little
love it.
gift.
Yeah, of course, of course. Totally unintentional, but love how it's so
But
relevant.
that's how the spirit works. You don't have to do the work.
Exactly.
Qué
Exactly.
lindo. Angie and Wesley.
Yeah, what came to mind with what Jonas was sharing was for some reason I had the feeling I needed to understand level confusion yesterday. I was like, I, I understand a lot of what the course is saying, and that thing has always been confusing to me. So I asked an AI, what does this mean? Like, does it mean this? And it was like, yeah, basically, like there's two levels. There's this like mundane level, and then there's this like elevated level in the spirit. And it's like we can't apply the solution for the spirit level to the mundane level. That's level confusion. That's spiritual bypassing. And I like what Andre said of
Mhm,
like we really need to feel everything that's going on. I feel like Angie and I, the way we've practiced it is the course at times was a lot of spiritual bypassing and like bypassing the body and the seeming needs of the body. Illusion of needs, there's a whole section, illusion of
mhm,
needs, but it doesn't mean don't honor what we feel in the moment. And I think that, yeah, I've fallen into that, still fall into that trap. And it's like learning that discernment, that balance between these two seeming levels of like, how do I go through that dance of life where I'm addressing what seems to be my form needs. Like I'm, setting up business and like, making money and all this stuff where I may have labeled some of these things as unspiritual, not spirited or whatever, like
mhm,
and actually in that it's like seemingly anyways, like slowing down the process because it's level confusion. I'm trying to apply the infinite to this finite experience in a way that is bypassing how I feel, and it actually increases the fear because I'm not honoring what's going on, and then
Mm.
and then I can't see. It becomes a cloud, and then all of a sudden I'm dispirited, trying to apply the spirit level to the form.
Mm.
And so then how do I navigate that? It's like, well, I take the practical steps. Jesus says, what would you have me say? What would you have me do? Where would you have me go, etc. And so, yeah, like I can apply that, asking the spirit, what do I do with this? But like being like, I don't know what the hell this is. Like, you gotta show me. And then also like doing the mind training, the forgiveness, like help me see this differently in this world. But then it's like when I honor that, then it just immediately opens, like, and then there's the spaciousness of the spirit. And Yeah, but I feel like I got it backwards so often in my life, trying to confusing levels basically. And finally I'm like,
Mm.
oh yeah, that's such a simple concept. Like, why didn't I get that before? Uh and yeah, maybe there's more discernment. Like I walked for half an hour talking to an AI, asking all the questions about what's going on in my life and with Angie and I, and like, is this what it is? And I had the idea, but it just made it so much more clear, and like how Jesus is talking about these different perspectives in the course. He's like, oh, you're infinite and eternal. And then he's like talking to us like, yeah, you and your brother, these two seeming separate ones, So he's like, that's the level that you're working at. And that functions, that the guidance or direction for that level is different than what I'm telling you about, like, yeah, because otherwise it's like I was homeless and wandering around thinking nothing mattered and none of this stuff was true, avoiding the world by bypassing it. And yeah, it was a level of confusion. So yay.
You have to feel it to heal it. You have to
Yeah.
look in order to overlook. If you pretend that something is not there, there's nothing you can do about that something that is not there.
Mm.
You have to look and yes, I feel this pain. Yes, I feel this anger. Yes, I feel this resentment. Whatever it is, I just want to give this up. I don't want this anymore. That's all.
Mhm. Mhm.
But you have to look at it. You have to feel it.
Yeah, that part in the course, it does say to you have to first look to then overlook.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think we go straight to the overlooking, which is what Wesley is, pointing at. That it's, and I think that that is a very normal, and also we have to give ourselves grace in that part of the journey of sometimes we can, have really deep experiences. And I, for one, like really, really deep experiences that shift the way you look at everything. And then it's
Mhm.
very easy for the ego to creep in and make even the relationship with God, even the spiritual journey, um, even the Course in Miracles special. Like literally making it special when it's teaching you that nothing is special. But
Mhm.
within us, we know that we're like, well, this is the truth and everything, and then, but slowly, and I think that that's just literally part of a step we have to move through. In general, it happens for most of us in our journey and in our curriculums in some way, in some form, that brings us to more humility about, you know, the way the spirit works and the way the spirit and Jesus can reach anybody. I remember being like, man, Christians got it all wrong. Like this whole thing, like they don't, like they need to know the truth. And like, being in this space internally where this is what I felt, but all I was doing was creating internally a big separation between me and Christians. I'll tell you that. For a
Mhm.
while, Christians became those people over there, and the Course in Miracles students were these people over here, my people, right? We're the
Mhm.
sons of God, but somehow they're not included in the sons of God or the Son of God, right? In the Christ. And that kind of
Mhm.
discrepancy, we don't identify it so quickly because, it's just part of the path. And I feel like giving ourselves grace and understanding that it's that even we may have knowledge or experience or visions and direct channeling of the spirit, and still the mind, wherever it's at, needs to purify. It's here to be
Uh-huh.
purified. So there really is, like, I don't know what anything is for. I have no idea what a Christian's path is for. But what I do know is that he and she is fully my brother. And their choice, that is their curriculum. And actually, them choosing that curriculum frees me because I need to free myself of the idea that somehow there's different like aspects that makes us actually in reality different, and it doesn't. So what a beautiful lesson to like come to realize, shoot, there is nothing that Jesus can't reach. There is no mind. Doesn't matter if it's Muslim or it's, or whatever it is, Course in Miracles or atheist, depressive, non-depressive, hippie. It just doesn't matter that the spirit cannot reach because it is the language of life. Like, it is the language within the mind and it uses all the symbols. And it's just like, okay. It's like, just back to humility, right? Back to this whole thing. So yeah. Okay. Went on a tangent there, but that was very inspiring to me because I definitely have been on that. And I think we can all resonate with different moments of feeling that and feeling that we know better or have more clearer truth on some aspect of life. And it's not even about that. It's not even about that. So, Lori, you've been holding your hand up for a while. Thank you so much for your patience. Did you want to say something? I know she wrote here, I'm walking the dog, so I can't read right now, which is okay. Lori, did you want to say something? Did you want to share something? Because I know she's on her phone. Sometimes we can put our hand up by. Okay, so we'll come back to Lori, and that's okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm walking
there
the
you
dogs,
are.
and I keep getting all these dead spaces. So, I just wanted to say I'm just grateful for this topic today because this is exactly what I've been going through. I've been just so confused and so judgmental to myself. I've been experiencing just the total love of God and just peace. But on the other side, I've been feeling just totally exhausted and drained out and not being able to really do anything but just sleep. And it's not me. I'm usually on the go all the time, doing a million things. And I've really been judging myself and really being hard on myself and saying, well, what is going on? Because, I feel this peace and this love surrounding me. But on the other hand, I just feel depressed and just exhausted where I just feel like I just can't keep going. And I guess it is my mind, when I think about the state of the world and all that, it really affects my mind. So I know that it's my mind, but I just want to say thank you because this topic really has just kind of clarified some things for me, So that's all I wanted to say.
Beautiful. Yeah, I want to say something, but I want to let Kwana speak, and then if anybody else has something to share. Here, Kwana, welcome.
Hello, everyone. I just I had a spontaneous desire to be here. Felt like Jesus was saying, go join with Stephania. But I think, I think really, I sense that we're all going through a huge purging. And, that relates to the principle in the Course that says it's in part of the 50 principles of the miracles in the beginning of the book. That miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. And that's a part that can seem very messy. It can seem to take a long time. Sometimes it's different for everyone, has a different curriculum. But that's the part that a lot of us are going through. And sometimes it can seem like you're taking a few steps forward and then a few steps back, and then the ego comes right up, and starts yelling and screaming. But really, when you start to see, I'm learning, I still continue to learn, but I realize that whatever seems to be there is an opportunity to see it as a miracle, which is not just some glib statement, but truly is there for you to release. And I sense that everyone is just deeply craving this. I know I've shared this with Stephania, and some of you might be aware that there are a group of Buddhist monks right now in the United States they're viral on the internet, on YouTube. They're a group of real Buddhist monks, like from Asia, okay, who are walking, who started off in Texas, where one of their Buddhist centers are, and decided to do a walk for peace. They have been walking from Texas through the Bible Belt, okay? And their destination is Washington, D.C. They want to go to the steps of the Capitol. And this is a miracle, okay, for a number of reasons. First of all, it's just came out of nowhere. Okay, to me, it's like this blast of light that just came out of nowhere. We're just talking about how spirit, as represented by Jesus Christ, can inspire anything. Spirit will use anything. And right now, it's clear that Jesus is inspiring these Buddhist monks to walk. And not only the reaction, the response that they are getting from hundreds, thousands of people are showing up to greet them. Mayors of the towns they're walking through, they're giving talks. They've also been confronted by some angry Christians. Okay, because we were just talking about, Stephanie was talking about, sometimes when you first get into the course, and I went through this myself too, feeling superior to, traditional Christians or whatever. And anyway, what these monks are demonstrating, though, is this clarity of purpose, the simplicity of what they're talking about in the teachings. Buddhism, obviously, what I know of Buddhism is they don't necessarily believe in a God figure, but the essence of their belief system have to do with the character of God, what some would call God, or which is love, which is peace, which is unity, which is compassion. So I encourage all of you to jump on YouTube and you'll see what's happening right now. It came up on my feed a couple of weeks ago by happenstance, so to speak, because I was praying about a family member that lives in Atlanta, a sister-in-law that lives in Atlanta, and wanting to open my heart towards her. Okay. And suddenly I started seeing these Buddhist monks who happened to be walking through Atlanta. This is just 2-3 weeks ago. And they have a dog with them that they picked up from the streets of India. This dog is now this dog has exploded all over. His name is Aloka. And
yes,
I was so touched by, my heart is so touched by what they're doing. And people are coming out crying, all different kinds of people. I think it's interesting that they're going through the Bible Belt. I think that it's interesting how it's conjuring up these feelings of Buddhism and Christianity and what does it all mean? And they have been confronted. They've had challenges along the way. One of the monks got hit by a car early on and his leg got amputated. But that's when that story broke, that's when it really exploded. News reports and so on in the local towns that they were going through. Also, there was a 70-year-old monk who was walking with them for a while. He's not with them right now because he got tired. But I was brought to tears watching the essence of what these monks are doing, the things that they're talking about, the response that they're getting from people. So the reason I'm bringing this up is not only is it an amazing story, but I just feel like Jesus is inspiring these people, these monks, regardless of where they come from, regardless of the fact that they're Buddhists. And I think it's just a startling to me symbol of what this means, what this journey means, and that people are hungry for this. I don't care what situation you think you're in. I don't care what spirituality you think you're in. I don't care what kind of autopilot people think they're in. People are hungry for this. People are hungry for this. That is why they're showing up in droves for these monks. And I encourage everyone to check it out. You'll see what I mean. It's going to make you cry because of what they're demonstrating. And the fact that the spirit will use anything. And I feel like the different forms of things makes it that much more powerful because it gives us an opportunity to first look within and see what resistance comes up, like Mike was talking about. What we're all talking about is we have to face what it is that we feel. And we allow this power of God to lift us up out of it moment to moment. And that is the journey. That is the journey. And these Buddhist monks are representing that. And the walk for peace. So I just encourage all of you to check it out.
You know,
Thank you, Kwana. Yeah.
There's a section in the course about the teachers of God, and it says that they can come from any religion or no religion. You can be an atheist and recognize that we're here only to be truly helpful. We're here to heal the world by healing ourselves. That's how we heal the world.
You know, I've been following
There's
the
another, yeah. Let me just add. There's another section in the course where it says, "Physician, heal thyself. Who else is there to heal?" So we're here to heal ourselves, and that's how we heal the world.
Lori, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I've been following the monks since the beginning, and
yes, you've been sharing a lot.
Yeah, they're the reason for the peace that I've really felt, because every time I watch them, I just feel this love and this peace, just like the presence of God. It might sound crazy, but that's how I feel, and it just makes you cry. It's just so beautiful. And for me, the dog is very important too, because it represents rescue animals, and people need to be awakened to that. So their whole walk is just really amazing, and like Kwana said, I just recommend that people just watch it. It's just amazing.
Also, what a beautiful symbol, right? That they represent in this midst of what seems like political chaos to many, in a time that seems quite dark to many. And here is this group of monks walking steadily on the roads of United States of America, particularly, right? They're monks everywhere all over the world, but they are representing within what seems to be the darkest, maybe, place where the things are bubbling up the most. They have decided to walk steadily and be a light of peace, no matter what. That means, like, we will go to Washington no matter what. We have a destination, and that in itself is just it sort of kind of breaks through, right? If and literally it's breaking through the media, it's breaking through all this other news, and it's taking over slowly and steadily, like the crowds of people. At first was probably 4 or 5 people who came out and knew. Then it was 50, and then it was 100, and now it's thousands, like through the bridges, thousands, little kids giving them, flowers and their drawings, and them stopping to hug them and, look at people in the eye and just say like, I see you, we're in this. This is us. We're doing this together. It doesn't matter where from. And it's so funny and how beautiful, Kwana, you're talking about the Buddhist monks, and you have that Buddhist figure behind you. Just, enlightening the space. Yep. So, yeah. The figures and the symbols are many, but the love is one. The spirit is one. So beautiful.
Yes, they're giving, like I said, they're giving many talks. They talking about these simple principles, keeping it very simple every day, what you can do to be mindful every day. And because mindfulness has become popularized, like spirituality has become popularized, we hear these terms thrown around. There's mindful apps, it's all about, I've said many times, for a long time, I thought I was this cool spiritual chick until Jesus got serious with me and said, okay, you ready to get serious now? You ready to just, you ready? Are you ready now? Stop being the cool spiritual chick. And so I'm just saying that this is we're not all called necessarily to walk, but it reminds me also of a woman named Peace Pilgrim who did that for almost 30 years, what she did. But whatever we're called to, that is our peace walk. As best as we can. And A Course in Miracles guides us back to that. Also, I want to mention that recently I've been guided to get into the Bible, okay, which is not something I thought I would ever do, quanta cracking open the Bible. But indeed, many of those teachings in the Bible, when you're able to let it channel through you, are also extremely powerful. The stories in the Bible are very, very powerful and relevant. So you never know how it's going to come through. And I think our job as A Course in Miracles students is we are given a position. It's not better or worse. It's just we're given a certain position where we can translate anything. We have a Holy Spirit. We have that open mindedness that the teachings of the Course give us, the mind training, where we can incorporate these views and be sent out into the world, because that's our ultimate job as miracle workers, as teachers of God, is to go out into the world, and whether it's through a smile or speaking through hundreds of people.
I love that, Juana. I wrote it in the chat, what you just said, the line, whatever you're called to do, that is your peace walk. Make that your peace walk. Beautiful. Whatever it is. Beautiful, beautiful. Where am I here? Okay. We still have some time so we can continue reading. And, we have this third paragraph. If anybody feels to read that, we can continue and take this. Jonas, go ahead.
I'll read it, yeah. Okay. The journey to the cross should be the last useless journey. Do not dwell upon it, but dismiss it as accomplished. If you can accept it as your own last useless journey, you are also free to join my resurrection. Until you do so, your life is indeed wasted. It merely reenacts the separation, the loss of power, the futile attempts of the ego at separation, and finally the crucifixion of the body or death. Such repetitions are endless until they are voluntarily given up. Do not make the pathetic error of clinging to the old rugged cross. The only message of the crucifixion is that you can overcome the cross. Until then, you are free to crucify yourself as often as you choose. This is not the gospel I intended to offer you. We have another journey to undertake, and if you will read these lessons carefully, they will help you prepare you undertake it. Yoo-hoo!
The only message of the crucifixion is that you can overcome the cross. Until then, you are free to crucify yourself as often as you choose.
I feel very, very good reading that section there. Yeah, I have been feeling this death on and off, of course, but it has been feeling like a crucifixion. And I have this belief, I would say, that once we enter the year of the fire horse in February on the 17th, things are going to look very, very different. And because it has been such a deep purification, it has been such a deep dive for me personally into the underworld, and as Kwan has said, for all of us, has been, this the year of the snake, the year of shedding so much, and I feel that the resurrection is like, of course, it's always there and in every moment, and of course, we can say it like that, but I feel really that this year is going to be different.
Yeah, like as a season, you see it also as a season that's
Mm-hmm.
coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond just a momentary.
Yeah, and what Mikey said also, I wanted to comment this: you need to look before you can overlook, and it like sometimes what can feel like the crucifixion is that we're actually looking. It's so painful to look, but it's also what grounds us in our human existence. It's what roots us in our humanity, that we have looked, that we have seen, okay, wow, I have this human issue as well. I felt so wounded that my mother could not hold the space for my emotions, for example, right? And that's what I've been going through for 5 days now with the orange dragon of the sacral chakra, and really feeling the pain of feeling so constricted, and how I can see how my whole life I have kind of made myself small because I was always like, pushed back, pushed down every time I tried to show my strength in any way. And for me to see that now and to break free from that.
Yes. This is it. This is it. Talking about it. This is it. And realizing it. It comes up, and what's interesting is that it disguises itself as many other things, and really it's just this the symbol of this young boy not being given the space to shine for whatever reason. In this curriculum, that's what was given. And funny that we're talking about death and resurrection. We symbolically go through so many of those, and part of the death is releasing this belief that these constraints, these chains, and the resurrection is once we're like, holy shit, this is never been a truth. This has just been a story I've carried because I believed it to be true. But once I can identify that only the story gives it the heaviness, only the story, right? And that story is just an interpretation. And then ultimately, the truth of who I am has never been touched. Right? And can never be. And so and Edgar can come from that, can channel that, can come from that space of openness and freedom.
But I still believe that, each of my brothers in some way is representing my mother and her desire to push me down, right? And that's what I'm going through even every time even when I share the spirit. And that's what I want to release. I want to see, okay, and it's the same as you was doing with the Christians. It was like, why are they different than me? Why are they so stupid? I'm doing it with Facebook, with Instagram. I'm so fucking afraid and full of judgment and full of hatred, and yet I want them to be my community and to applaud me and to approve me. And it's maniac.
Isn't that interesting? That's basically what you're saying is your mind. Look at where your mind is at, and what's reflecting is what really, it's the story you have in your mind. They don't like me, they don't, or whatever it is that we project, but that is perception. It's project. What we're doing is we're literally saying, I want to be a part of it, but I don't feel welcome, and I don't feel welcome because I don't welcome them the way they are. That is why I don't feel welcome. I don't feel welcomed in Christian churches because I don't welcome them, because I don't see them as the Christ that they are to me. I don't feel welcomed in my dinner with my family because I don't welcome them, because I see myself different, or I see the past and I see what they've done to me or what they did to my sister or what, and I carry that and I don't welcome them because that is why I don't feel welcomed. And so it's like, it's me, it comes from me. And the moment I release it, they are all welcomed because they are all me. And they will show evidence of other things, right? Jesus talks about it. There will be evidence of them not being connected to, what you might be learning. But that is the gift that's being given you to free you and to free your mind.
And may I add too, Jonas, that is, as we're going through this mind training that we're doing, what Stephanie had just said about the welcome to the heart. Also, it sometimes also can mean you can physically step away when it's practical and when you're guided. And step away because
that welcoming doesn't have to be a physical thing always. Welcoming is an internal.
It's an
space.
internal.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, because I've gone through a lot of things as you're speaking of with my siblings, and there is a point where sometimes, I know for me, I had to do a radical stepping away a year ago. That didn't mean that, but that even drove me further into the forgiveness in my heart.
Can I share something that may be helpful to you, Jonas, about your mother, your relationship with your mother? On the Sunday morning class years ago, one of the students came in and he was really super angry because he had been given a speeding ticket on the way to the class. And he felt like he wanted to kill that cop. So then we started talking about it, and he came to the realization this, I'm not angry at the cop, I'm angry at my father. That's a good step, realizing that we're caught up in the shadows of the past. But that's not this is a world of levels, and there's levels below that.
Labels.
Levels.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He wasn't angry at his father. In reality, he wasn't angry at his father. He was angry at himself. What happens if, say, your father yells at you, and if a little kid is so sure of himself that he could think, oh, I wonder why dad is angry. Maybe I can do something to help and heal that anger. But a little kid will probably think, oh, there must be something wrong with this proves that there's something wrong with myself because my father's yelling at me. So you got to realize that your mother it had nothing to do with you. She was dealing with her own fears from her childhood, from a past life, who knows? Okay? And healing your relationship with your mother means recognizing it's not denial. It's no, 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 she didn't do this. Yeah, she did that. It's just recognizing that's because she was dealing with shadows of her past. I don't have to let that control me now. When the Course talks about the present memory, means now I can remember who I am. That whatever happened back there, whatever she did, yell at me or whatever, cannot change who I am. I'm here to be truly helpful. And that means the way we're truly helpful is by healing ourselves in order to heal the world.
Thank you. Well,
you're welcome.
And we can equate saying heal the world to heal the mind, because the mind is one and this is the entire experience in the mind. So, ultimately healing the world is truly just healing the mind, going back to the true mind, the one mind, the right mind.
Yeah.
So,
and as Wesley, he was saying, also like if we try to deny some of the things that we want in the human level, was that Is that the word level confusion? That is that thing?
Level
Okay,
confusion.
cool. Nice. Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
And this is also, actually I have a much, much more beautiful relationship with my mom now. I've been living there for 1.5 months and addressed a lot of these things, and we can really enjoy each other's presence now for the first time. So that's wonderful. But me being in this situation, alone in this room and only with my phone, and I just have this calling to share my channeling and my music with the world, and I'm here alone, and what the fuck can I do, So it's also just, there's so much frustration right now inside me, um about be feeling so locked and so blocked. But yeah, I also don't want to take up too much of the group's time now. It came, and yeah, I'm open that we can continue if that's
Okay, appreciate that. And also giving others space. Thank you. Yes, but we hear you and we join you in holding that openness. Yeah. And allowing those feelings to come up and allowing that, remember, that small light to just be like, oh, okay, this is here. um, this is what's being felt. Andre, you've had your hand up. Thanks for your patience.
No, of course, of course. No, I just when we were reading, like the word crucifixion, right? Like really came to mind because, I was raised Catholic and then I turned to Christianity. I've never labeled myself as any of them, but the crucifixion word is like they really drilled that into you, like you must crucify yourself. Like you must crucify your ego and things like that. And I guess I do understand it in that way, but also now interpreting it in the sense like when you crucify yourself, it's guilt, right? Like it's like you feel guilty about your darkness or about your humanness. And I feel like that's such a strong word because even when you look at the cross, like I love the cross because for me it represents like more than guilt, like crucifixion. But when you see like the image of Jesus like suffering and like you just feel so guilty, right, for like what we humans like did to him. But so it's like you don't have to crucify yourself in order to resurrect. Like that, I don't think that Jesus like left that message to us, but maybe I can start reinterpreting it in the sense of like, like I guess it's like the sacrifice or the thing that we leave at the altar, which is like, okay, God, like I realized that now I had like an ego driven thought or like an ego driven emotion, but it's not to crucify it immediately. It's like, no, I can't feel this. No, I'm going to crucify it immediately because that kind of goes against like what we were talking about of not allowing it to be and then feeling guilty about it, right? So yeah, I just thought that was really interesting because it's always been drilled into me like crucify yourself, and it's like, whoa, that's so intense. Like, and maybe it's just a good way to reinterpret that, like in a sense of like maybe carry your own cross in the sense that it will always be a part of us, but it doesn't have to represent us. And there can always be resurrection on the other side of it once we allow and permit that it is part of our process to carry that cross, I guess.
Yeah. I actually what you're saying, I'm going to hold on, let me just close this here. Go back to the last part where he read. The futile attempts of the ego at reparation, the final crucifixion of body or death, right? This is so for what Jesus is talking here about the crucifixion is really just us living in illusion, right? Like of all the suffering, the misery that we choose to go through is our own crucifixion, and it's born from the identity of the ego. It's born from the identity of wanting, getting, destruction, loss, lack, all the things that classify everything that we're not, right? In truth. And so, but what you're saying in this perfect is he says, do not make the pathetic error of clinging to the old rugged cross, to this. The only message of the crucifixion is that you can overcome the cross. That is the only message. That's what he's trying to say. And what you're saying is, yeah, I've been taught to pay attention so much to the crucifixion to be the one, the sufferer, the sacrificer, the guilt, right? Mea culpa, mea culpa. We've been taught this. And what he's saying is actually my message was what came from the crucifixion, literally the resurrection, that basically that the crucifixion did nothing, right? That this big thing that seemed so terrible actually was nothing. He was untouched. And so are we. That's what he's basically saying. I came to the point where I united so one with the Spirit that I knew that whatever they could do could hurt me not. And it didn't. And he came, and I mean, that was a huge thing of my awakening, is like coming to understand the purpose of Jesus's crucifixion and how really it is just the resurrection is the purpose. And we are resurrecting when we come to know that truth. We literally are like, oh my gosh, I have the Christ in me. We might not have those words, but there's this understanding, there's this knowledge, this gnosis that comes, and it shifts something within us, because the resurrection is now the focus. It's the birth of the truth. And the death was just the precursor in a sense, right? But he's like, you just don't have to cling to it. The thing is that we continue to cling on it through lifetimes. And we think all this spiritual stuff with lifetimes and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, but you're carrying the cross in each lifetime. Just decide. All I need is your willingness to release. Doesn't matter all the different stories and all the different lifetimes. And yes, you can learn and use the curriculums, but ultimately you're headed in one direction and one direction only, and that is home. And I can take you there, and I can collapse time for you to do that. We can do it right now. So thank you for sharing that, Ande, because that's exactly what it is. It is a completely new interpretation of crucifixion and resurrection. Yeah. Angie and Wesley.
That come for me is that Jesus say that the only helpful way to use the judgment is how I feel, because to whatever is happening in my seemingly illusion is the way to go deeply. If I really take it in how I feel, because I need to recognize that I'm never upset for the reason I think. But seemingly I'm upset for this figure right now in this illusion. And if I take it deeply how I feel and take the Jesus hand, take me deeply. He take me to the deeper and deeply and deeply. For example, in my illusion, also so much projection with my sister-in-law, and I pray, I'm not upset with her. What is deeply there? Somehow come up my grievance with my mom unresolved. And deeply is neither my mom. If I take it deeply, all my relationships reflect my relationship with God, that I deeply feel so much guilty because I believe the separation is real. And I'm so guilty I think I did something horrible to the separation. And this is the deeply error that need to be corrected. And when I'm deeply with that, holding Jesus' hands, he can take me there to my relationship with God, with this guilty. And he can wake up my mind to remember me. This never occurred. It's already done, and you are innocent. And then it's no project in any relationship in my world. This guilty, unconscious guilty that they did something wrong. They did something wrong. Because I don't want to feel this unconscious, deeply guilty that I did something horrible to separate of my father. But it's already corrected. If I not rest in the level that I believe I am, in my illusion, I'm never going to go deeply and always going to project in some figures out this error in the unconscious mind. Thanks.
Yes, Angie, what you're talking about is the deep, the real crux of what forgiveness is and how it takes us to notice that ultimately every bit of projection is rooted in the separation. This is what Jesus is teaching us, in the belief in separation from God. We might not even be consciously thinking about that. Actually, most of the time we're not. That's why it's deeply unconscious. And the invitation is to question, really, what am I believing? What am I believing about myself? What is this? What is here? What is this person showing me? Because the person is just a symbol of something I'm not looking at. And it's bringing it up to surface. So that's why relationships are so powerful for healing, or they could be so destructive. Because when we make it about the other person and about ourselves, when we make it personal, we lose the unconscious guilt and the things that want to come up for healing. We're making it about ourselves and we keep it at a surface level and we're just pointing it at each other. No, you did this. No, this is what I meant. No, that was the past, but this is what we're going to do now. No. And so it stays here. But that's why the purpose of the relationship, if we have an understanding that the purpose is for the healing, that the purpose is to go deeper, not because, I don't know, you didn't like my cooking. I don't know. That's just an example that came to mind that created this whole conversation. That is actually one of the journal entries I have. Because of, that it seems like that's what's bothering me, but that's not what's truly bothering me. What's bothering me is that I need you to like my cooking because something in me feels unworthy or unfulfilled because something in you needs to fill it. And when I go deep enough, I realize actually I'm already fulfilled and I've forgotten that I am whole and fulfilled. And now I need something external to me to tell me with this specific example that I'm good, that I did a good job cooking, that it was yummy, and now I feel, and so if I take it back, I'm like, hold on. And I can see where that part, and it's for me, it's a perfect symbol to a wounded child, right? We use a lot this, like, the wounded child. It's that little child, even before Stef, right? Just the child and the child of God, the one that felt itself separated. That's basically like, I am unworthy. I am not filled. I did something wrong. I am not okay. And I need something to fill it. So I don't think about how bad I feel. That is but we can't skip the steps. We can't just skip the steps. Like Angie's saying, we really have to go there and choose to go deep together in relationship and overlook the personal. It's not personal. It's not about you and me. It's about what's under and what we're trying to bring up together so we can let it go and feel and experience the miracle. Yeah. And then it changes the purpose of relationship. It changes the purpose of everything. It's not about getting it right anymore.
You.
Wesley, I saw that you raised your hand if you wanted to share something. I know we're coming up on the hour, but we can do this share and
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone who shared. Jonas, thank you, brother, so much for your willingness to just be authentic with whatever's coming up for you. It's like truly a gift. I'm gonna go see my mom next week on this day, probably for the first time in 2 years. And so I can just see my whole mind, my unconscious, healed and unhealed parts coming up in this session and just being filtered by the Holy Spirit through everyone's willingness here to join and share. And I haven't even had to say anything. Kwana, thank you so much for sharing about the Buddhist monks. It's beautiful to see you here. It's just, I mean, everything is just so given. Thank you, Jesus, for using everyone, Stephania for hosting, and everyone for contributing your part. Like, we all have this beautiful part to play, and I see everyone here playing their part for me, for the salvation of my mind. And yeah, so thank you. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Angie and Wesley.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And Jonas.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
Very
guys.
much.
Thank
It was
you
beautiful.
all.
So glad I came on today.
What a gift. And I know, Isabel, you wanted to say something, but I know you're in your car now. I don't know if you want to share something
No,
really
it's
quick
okay. It's
before we
okay.
close. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, let's be grateful and aware that we're never alone, actually. You know, we sometimes decide to be alone and it's okay for some time, but we have a choice. Every minute we can make a choice and still feel ourselves embraced and surrounded by love, surrounded by guidance. You know, every time we call, we are guided. And if we feel we are in the cross, if we feel we are, going through dark moments, stuck or something, in reality, it's part of the process. It's part of the process because first, we need to go to the dark, like a seed goes to the dark and then grows the roots and then comes to the light. So feeling in that dark at the moment, stuck or overwhelmed or something, how beautiful. Let's feel amazing. It's amazing because I'm blossoming. That means like something, if deeper than this, darkness than this cannot go. This next is going to go like up, up. So never forget.
Thank you,
Beautiful.
Isabel.
And yes, you made me think of this one. I don't think it's this exact phrase, but healing is collaborative. And we may feel alone in our healing journey, but it is collaborative. That means that whether it's with another who we're seemingly healing with, right, in relation to, but the spirit is always doing the healing. We don't do our healing, people. We become aware of the blocks in the mind. We become aware, like Angie was saying, of what is coming up for me. We expose, we join, we choose devotion, we have the willingness. That is what we need. And the spirit does the rest, because when we have the willingness, we give part one and spirit comes in and does the rest of the collaboration. We need do nothing. It doesn't have anything to do with the body. It has everything to do with not making things happen, but allowing them to be and trusting and surrendering and doing our part so that it can be done. So healing is collaborative. And I thank you all for joining in that collaboration.
Thank you,
Again
Stephanie.
and again. Love you all so
Love
much.
you all. Love you all.
And let's go watch those monks. Let's go watch, talk about collaboration.
I hope that millions of people show up in DC. I hope so.
Yeah. Talk about the spirit of collaboration, bringing everyone together. That's it. No matter what. All right. You all go shine your light and love. Love you.
Love
Until
you.
next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Ciao.